Stone and silence remain, but what they were used for begins to take shape in the shadows, and the deeper you look, the less certain it all becomes. This is the other side of normal. Welcome back. Here we are again. Part 2 of Stonehenge. Part 2 of Stonehenge. We'll cut that bit. If you were here again, then something about old stones and older questions pulled you back. Pulled me back. So, settle in, grab a drink. I got my Coke, diet, and enjoy. So tonight, we're returning to the circle, to the wind, to open sky, to a place that was never meant to be silent. Basically, tonight we step beyond construction and engineering and into something far more human, death, ritual, belief-ish. This is the darker side of Stonehenge. See what I did there? And this time, we're not asking how it was built. Okay? We're asking why people gathered there in the first place. Picture it without tourists. No ropes, no gift shop, no drone footage. Just cold air rolling across the Salisbury Plain. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? 5 years ago, that'd be true. The land looked different. More forested, more alive. No tarmac road. And dickhead drivers. And at the centre of that landscape, people began digging. Not building yet, just digging. Just going for a dig. Fancy a dig? Yeah. A circular ditch, a raised bank, a ring carved into the earth itself. That was phase one. Before the stones, before the skyline silhouette, and probably before shovels. I don't know. I haven't researched that bit. They marked the ground first. Don't know how. And what do humans mark when they want something to matter? Graves, territory, sacred ground. Archaeologists found cremated human remains in the earliest phase of the site. Now let that sink in. Before Stonehenge became iconic, it was a burial ground, a graveyard. Ashes placed carefully in pits, bones burned and gathered, people laid to rest in a ring of earth beneath the sky. This wasn't decorative, it was deliberate. Now here's where it gets deep. The remains found weren't random villagers tossed into a hole. Evidence suggests some of the individuals buried there came from far away, possibly from Western Britain, even Wales. That's over, as I touched upon, 150 miles in prehistoric terms. There were no trains, paved roads, no weekend travel discounts. Tooey. So why transport a body that far? Because the destination mattered. Stonehenge wasn't just local. It was important enough to travel in death. And humans don't carry their dead across entire regions unless they believe the ground at the end of the journey holds the power. Isotopic analysis of human remains at Stonehenge indicates that some individuals originated from distant regions, supporting the idea of mobility and long-distance connections in prehistoric Britain. Some researchers now believe Stonehenge may have begun as an elite burial site, a place reserved for high-status individuals. Leaders, spiritual figures, important lineage members, Donald Trump type people, I suppose. Trump. The most enduring monument in prehistoric Britain may have started as a cemetery for the powerful. Not a calendar, not a stage, a resting place. And if that's true, then the stones weren't just markers of time, they were guardians. But burial alone doesn't explain the scale. Because this wasn't just a small graveyard, it evolved, which suggests ritual activity, repeated gatherings, and returning again and again. And nearby, at a site called Durrington Walls, archaeologists discovered something very revealing. Animal bones, thousands of them, mostly pigs. It's probably what they were eating in the feasts, communal gatherings or whatever. Seasonal celebrations, shared meals, whatever you're into. Now picture the contrast. In one place, cremated remains under sacred stones. In another, short distance away, fires, food, noise and celebration. Life and death, side by side, no doubt about it. Almost like a ritual cycle. Feast, honour, remember, repeat. No different to what we do today. What do? Someone dies, we bury them, we get steaming. Job done. That's how it's done in the valleys anyway. Modern acoustic researchers tested how the stone circle interacts with noise. Studies by researchers in acoustics, including work published through institutions such as the University College London, suggest that the stone arrangement can produce reflective and resonant sound behaviour within the circle. And it turns out the arrangement creates subtle echo and resonance effects. Maybe I should do my podcast from there. At least the intro. Anyway, chanting inside the circle would sound amplified, contained, and focused. Imagine standing inside at night, firelight flickering, voices rising together, drums, rhythmic striking, echoing off the stone. The sound wouldn't disappear into open air, it would circle back and wrap around you. They can't even create that in a fucking festival. Modern day one. Stonehenge may not just have been seen, it may have been heard as well. An ancient ritual across cultures often depends on sound, repetition, rhythm, collective voice. It changes the brain states, it bonds groups, it creates atmosphere. So if ceremonies took place there, they likely felt overwhelming. Now, let's shift a bit to the belief. We know that ancient people tracked the sun carefully. We know Stonehenge aligns with the summer solstice, sunrise, and the winter solstice, sunset. But here's where it gets more interesting. The winter solstice alignment may have been even more important than the summer one. Summer solstice marks the darkest point of the year, the shortest day. You hear about it, oh, shortest day of the year today. Don't you? You do. That's the moment when light begins to return. If you're a prehistoric society dependent on seasons, that moment matters. It means survival, it means the world isn't ending, and it means the sun is coming back. Archaeological interpretations, supported by organisations such as English Heritage, suggest that solstice alignments at Stonehenge were likely intentional and significant to the people who built and used the site. So imagine this, midwinter, cold, dark, uncertain. Communities travel towards Stonehenge, feasts are prepared, fires are lit, ashes of ancestors lay beneath the earth, and at sunset, the light aligns with the stones. The sun appears exactly where it should be. Order confirmed. The cosmos is still turning. That's not just astronomy, that's reassurance. And I'm sure it meant a lot to these guys. But here's the uncomfortable thought. When we call ancient rituals primitive, we're projecting arrogance. Because what were they really doing? Tracking celestial cycles, gathering community, honouring the dead, reinforcing social bonds, confirming their survival. That's not primitive. That's sophistication. I believe they're sophisticated. Like, how can they build that, but we don't know how, and then we got the audacity to call them primitive? Do you know what I mean? It's emotional intelligence carved into the landscape. Now, let's lean darker for a moment. Some skeletal remains from the broader region show signs of injury, healed fractures, trauma, signs of hardship. Life wasn't gentle to these guys. Disease, conflict, famine, accident. Death would have been common. And they didn't live anywhere near the amount of years that we live now. But ritual transforms chaos into structure. When someone dies, you either feel randomness or you create a meaning. Stonehenge may have been a machine for that meaning. And a place where death wasn't just loss, it became placement. Ash returned to earth in a sacred ring, community gathered, sky aligned, grief processed within cosmic order. That's powerful. Modern humans struggle to organise a family dinner without any drama. These people coordinated regional gatherings aligned with solar events while hauling livestock and possibly carrying cremated remains. And they did it all without having to buy a fucking ticket like we gotta do. Coming to Reading? Yeah. Got your ticket? No. Do I need one? Yeah. Well, I'm not coming. Now let's address something eerie. There's no written record from the builders, obviously. Bit of sarcasm there, because I like it. No explanation tablet, no carved message saying, we built this because... All interpretation comes from archaeology. I'd love to be an archaeologist, but I'm just too lazy to learn. So that means we're reconstructing belief from ash and bone fragments. That gap, that silence, is where mystery breathes. And silence can be louder than evidence anyway. Over centuries, the purpose may have shifted. Maybe it began as a burial. Monuments often outlive their original meaning. Think of how many buildings today no longer serve their first function. Now stretch that across 1,500 years ago. Different generations would have understood Stonehenge differently. Some might have known the founder's intentions. Later generations may have inherited only the ritual, not the reason. But the final phase is, it may already have been ancient history to them. Imagine participating in a ceremony at the monument already 1,000 years old. You wouldn't know the original builders. You just feel the weight. Now, let's head back to the travelling again, because it literally blows my mind. Isotope analysis of remains suggests some buried individuals were not local to the immediate area. That means Stonehenge was a destination, a pilgrimage site. Pilgrimage requires belief. Belief requires story. So even if we don't know the story, there definitely was one. There had to be. And stories sort of unify tribes. Shared ritual reduces conflict. Large communal gatherings can reinforce alliances. So Stonehenge might have functioned politically as well as spiritually. An anchor point for identity. Now here's something worth sitting with. If this site was associated with death, winter, ancestors, and the turning of the sun, then Stonehenge may not have been bright and celebratory in tone. It may have just been quite solemn, serious, or Revenant. That was my phone going off. Less festival, more threshold than anything. A place between worlds. Between light and dark, living and dead, past and future. That interpretation feels heavy. And honestly, it feels more plausible. Why does this still unsettle people? Because deep down we recognise it. We still build monuments. We still gather at graves. We still mark solstices, New Year's, turning points. We still fear randomness and crave order. Stonehenge isn't alien to us. It's familiar. Just stripped of technology, which is something we don't like. We can't explain it. Let's ground this clearly before anyone runs with fantasy. There is no verified evidence of human sacrifice at Stonehenge. No confirmed proof of violent ritual inside the circle. No alien inscriptions and no supernatural artifacts. What we have is archaeological evidence of burial, feasting, astronomy and coordinated construction. The mystery lies in the interpretation, not in missing facts. So, what's the takeaway from this? Stonehenge likely wasn't built for spectacle, should we say? We go with spectacle. It was built for significance. It brought people together around the biggest realities humans face. And, I repeat, still do. Death, time, seasonal survival, community, cosmic order. That is not primitive. It's a foundation. If you stood inside that circle at midwinter thousands of years ago, surrounded by firelight, smoke rising, voices echoing, ancestors beneath your feet, and watched the sun align perfectly, you wouldn't need a scientific paper. You would feel certainty, and sometimes certainty is more powerful than any explanation.